Hello again. So, if you follow me on the various social media sites, or Discord, or maybe the community page here on YouTube, then you'll know that sometimes when I receive a little box in the post, I'll sometimes have a go at turning that into a mini dungeon, rather than throwing it away. I don't usually make a video about them, as they're kind of tailor-made to fit whatever size box I have, but I thought that for this latest one, I could maybe do a bit of a time-lapse. So, for reference purposes, here's a few WizKids models for scale, and the idea for this one is just to make a simple cellar. So, I'll just put the miniatures to one side for now, and to begin with, I'm just going to glue one of the floor patterns to the inside of the box. And as you can see, I've cut these to size off camera, and I'm using the texture from the Sewer Tiles PDF. But yeah, it's all fairly straightforward stuff. Okay, next I'm going to glue some of the regular wall texture to the inner sides of the box, and again, I've cut these to the right height off camera, so all I'm doing here is cutting them to the right length and gluing them into place. And as you might have noticed, I am experimenting with using a couple of different webcams for this video, as this whole thing, it's also a bit of a trial run for something else that I'm planning. So yeah, if you could let me know if switching the camera angle every now and again is helpful, or just annoying, then that would be good to know. Just be aware that it is still a bit of a learning process for me at the moment, as it does involve wrapping my head around some new software. Anyway, for these other two sides, I'm doing the reverse of what I just said. I'm actually gluing them into place first, and then cutting them to size. It's just a bit easier to do them that way. Seeing as how it's just a little flap. But yeah, here I am reassembling the box. And that's the main part done. Okay then, next it's time to glue another floor texture to the underside of the lid, which, again, I've cut the size beforehand, just to make the filming process a bit quicker. And yeah, there's not a lot to say really. I mean, you can see what I've done there. Right then, next I'll be making a couple of sets of stairs. And to begin with, I've glued all of the pieces to some thin corrugated card and cut them to size. Then it's just a matter of gluing them together, like you've seen in some of the other videos. However, this time I am trying to make sure that each step is flush with both of the side panels, if that makes sense. And this first set of stairs is going to be positioned over in this corner, so I do need to make sure to leave a small gap on the left hand side, as that's where the side flap folds down. So here I am holding it in place while the glue sets, and yeah, just making sure that the lid closes properly before I go any further. But like I say, I'm making two of these, so here's the second one being put together now, and while I'm doing that, there's all that YouTube nonsense that I'm supposed to say about liking and sharing and so on, so feel free to do that if you feel so inclined. Anyway, I'm going to stick this one to the underside of the lid. So again, I will need to make sure that the whole thing closes properly, and that's why I keep flipping the lid over, just to make sure that it's not catching on any of the sides. Now for this next piece, I'm going to glue the front of the shelves to some double corrugated card, and the back of the shelves to some thin corrugated card, but you could use whatever you like. Then I'll just glue these two pieces back to back, making sure that I align them as best as I can, and that's what you can see me doing here. Then I'm going to take a couple of pieces of 3mm thick foam core, and these have been cut to the same height as the shelves, but a little bit wider, and I've also wrapped them in some of the wood texture. And I'm simply going to hot glue one of these to either side, making sure that I get them roughly centralised. So that's what I'm doing here, and there you go. Next I've cut a couple of pieces of 5mm thick foam core, and made them a little bit bigger than the entire thing, and wrapped them in the wood texture as well. Then it's just a matter of hot gluing these to the top and the bottom. And just like with the cardboard, all of these have been made with a few offcuts that I had lying around, which is another reason why I like to make these, just to use up some of the scraps. Anyway, while I'm doing that, I do just want to say that someone over on the Discord server has also been making a few dungeons in a box, so you can probably thank, or blame, whichever you prefer, I'm going to say thank, they're kind of responsible for me wanting to make another video about them. But yeah, that's the shelves done, and now I'm just going to make sure that it fits between the stairs when the box is closed. Which, thankfully, it does. Okay, next I'm just going to take some crates that I've already got made and see if I can squeeze those in anywhere. So here I am gluing them together, and I can also fit a little chest in there as well. So here's the cellar with everything laid out. However, I am going to need to do something to keep the top half from collapsing. So all I'm going to do is measure how far it should be from the tabletop, and then I'm just going to take an empty toilet roll tube and cut that to the same height, which is exactly what you can see me doing here. And when that's done, I can slot that underneath the top half, and that should keep it in place. And that's pretty much finished. There's a little cellar in a box. So here's a quick look at how it all packs away again, including this last little support piece, and I think I might still have room to add 1 or 2 small pieces, but yeah, you get the idea. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. As I say, this has also been a bit of a test run for another project that I have in mind, so it would be good to know what you think of this format. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.